about 5,000 cars a month in four-wheelers, and handling something like about double that figure in the two-wheelers. 24 times that figure. 20,000 in
20,000 bikes and about 4,500 to 5,000 cars.
And in the last few months, yes, the figures have dropped mainly for four-wheelers, but we're expecting that it will pick up now. Mr. Sanghi has mentioned some of the causes as to why this has happened. I would like to suggest ways in which it can be rectified. One of the things we feel is if the petrol cost is high today, it includes a very, very high percentage of taxation. And part of the taxation, or a major portion of the taxation, is also tax added by the state. I would request the state government to consider that by reducing individual tax percentage on fuel, you might end up with a greater collection of total volume, because then the fuel gets used more. Same for the life tax. Mr. Samaria is here. My request to the Esteemed Transport Commissioner is also to take this up with the government, that we have the highest road tax rates in the country. And we have another category which says that if you have a second vehicle, even if you have a moped registered in your name, you pay another 2% extra. Now, this is sort of squeezing the goose that lays the golden egg. Maybe not killing it, but it's squeezing it pretty much. Our request is that if you make that tax a little more reasonable, it used to be 8%, which was a pretty good rate, somewhere between 8 and 9%, and make it a flat rate tax. You will encourage more people to buy vehicles and replace their old cars. You might say, what is my exposure to that? In addition to being the chairman of the AP Motor Vehicle Dealer Association for quite a few years now, our group is also dealers. What you saw now is from Maruti Cars, right up to Aston Martin. And we're also having a used car operation called Dr. Car. So believe me, and we're pretty much aware of what is happening across the entire gamut of vehicle sales. And this is where it helps. When it comes to used cars and used commercial vehicles, and both trucks and lorries and buses and auto rickshaws, the government has got a regulation which says more than 15-year-old cars should not be on the roads, but it is not implemented. What we are requesting is, especially when it comes to the commercial segment, the passenger who's taking a ride in that vehicle trusts that that vehicle meets all the requirements. Now, it might meet all the requirements superficially, but what about the metal fatigue on the chassis and things? I mean, if the government itself takes out a vehicle when it has finished 1 lakh kilometers, and the army takes out a vehicle when it has finished between 3 and 5 lakh kilometers, and treats it as a vehicle to be disposed of, I don't see any reason why commercial vehicles, which the passenger is trusting his life to, should continue to operate even when they do lakhs and lakhs of kilometers across the years just because they get a coat of paint on it. So it is better to say that there is some not so easily identified damage to the chassis of the vehicle which can lead to a catastrophic collapse sometime. So it is better to say that there is a standard laid down that commercial vehicles will not be licensed beyond a certain mileage factor. And mileage becomes a little more important than the age, and maybe it doesn't take 15 years to cross that mileage. 15 years was a target that was set about 25 years ago, and nobody seems to be implementing that. So if they do things like this, reducing the tax, trying to build up a volume which will get you the total amount of tax more than trying to increase a particular rate, and then try to see that only the proper vehicles are on the road so that they get replaced by better technology vehicles. I mean, there used to be a saying that a car in 90, but that car leaked, so some oil drops would keep falling down, and that leakage is more than a car which is driving full speed today. The modern cars' emission controls and pollution levels are far, far in advance. So we need to allow for the growth of new vehicles and technology into the vehicle space also. So if you do that, I think you will find more cars and more two-wheelers coming. I mean, all of you have driven the vehicles and you've seen the improvement in technology. So you know that there is a lot of improvement, there is a lot of consideration of green factors, environmental factors, and a lot of consideration of passenger safety. So, I mean, that's something that everybody is looking at. And these are things that we need to bring about. The Transport Department, you're all aware, has already done something about trying to bring about awareness of road rules and safety rules in the SAFA program. And I hope they will continue with that and encourage school children to be exposed to proper road discipline. And that will make a lot of difference for all of us in terms of moving faster across whatever roads we have got.
How many volumes are we doing as of now?
Volumes
of four-wheelers. As you said, there are 5,000 cars per month which we are selling every month. But
today the figure is near the 3,000.
Nearly 3,000. And what would be the share of the luxury car market in this?
See, I know, we have had this mentioned just now. Mr. Paul mentioned that there is a luxury car market is growing, but the growth is on a small base. So it's percentage-wise growing, but that really is not that important. What is more important to us is what is growing in the smaller car market. And that's much bigger potential and much bigger numbers in terms of total numbers, not percentage-wise. The luxury cars are growing, yes.